Speaker, I don't know what side of the bed the Leader of the Opposition woke up this morning. Some days she gets up in this place and says the CLP government are rushing through and doing too much legislation, and then days like today we're hearing that we're not doing enough legislation quick enough for them. But, Madam Speaker, if the Leader of the Opposition, perhaps they don't think our power grid is important, but I do. And, Madam Speaker, they talked about, the Leader of the Opposition talked about, it's been 14 months since the CLP government came to government, and that we haven't done enough in those 14 months. Well, Madam Speaker, they had 8 years. 8 years. Now, I am actually a mathematician, but 8 years is actually a lot more than 14 months, but it is what it is. And, Madam Speaker, when you can't play the game, they try to play the person instead. Instead of talking about what Territorians care about, they talk about attacking the Deputy Chief Minister. They keep saying things like, it's not about politics, it's not about politics, we've got to make it not about politics, and then go political attack after political attack. It's very inconsistent. Shame on them. I'm personally looking forward to the member for 𝒂𝒊𝒄𝒊𝒕𝒚 contribution in this debate, as I'm sure he'll display some real leadership when it's his turn to speak. Now, Madam Speaker, let's talk about electricity. I love electricity. I love seeing power lines, Madam Speaker. They remind me, Madam Speaker, and Daryl Carrigan in the castle, of man's ability to generate power. I love seeing Christmas lights on gates and fences in the rural area, and Madam Speaker, above all, I love aircon. Not quite as much as my fiancée, who insists on keeping the aircon cold enough to give me the shakes, Madam Speaker, but we love our aircon. And, Madam Speaker, without power, without gas and without electricity and a stable grid, we don't get aircon. And, Madam Speaker, the Northern Territory households experience more than double the number of blackouts compared to the rest of Australia. And I'd like to thank the hard-working power and water staff and emergency repairs that go on when there is a blackout, and they often brave intense weather conditions and storms and get out late at night to make sure they can turn on power as quick as possible. So a big shout out to all the hard-working people at Power and Water and across the Territory who make sure our power gets turned on promptly. But whenever there is a power outage, there'll be a post within the Humpty-Doo community Facebook group, a great community resource, and within minutes of the blackout, day or night, doesn't matter if it's 2 a.m, 3 a.m, or in the midday, 100 Facebook comments will give you a street-by-street review of where the power is out. You'll know exactly what areas are affected. And many rural residents, I do concede, are self-sufficient and have invested in solar batteries and generators, and that when a blackout does occur, they flick a switch and they're sorted for a while. However, for many residents, the impact of losing power is tremendous. For those on bores in the rural area, no power means no water. No power means no aircons. No power means no ceiling fans or cold drinks. And no power, Madam Speaker, means fish tank pumps fail and tragedies occur. Now, Madam Speaker, I personally have lost an angelfish to a blackout that occurred under the failed Labor government. It was a horrible thing to have to come home to. And extended blackouts mean food rots, families shower in the pool or send their kids to school without clean clothes, black and brownouts trip and break appliances, costing families thousands in replacements without notice for key appliances such as fridge, freezers, aircons and pool pumps. And, Madam Speaker, we inherited a system that simply wasn't up to scratch. This CLP government, in our year of action, certainty and security, is getting on with the job and acting. We will not follow in the footsteps of the failed opposition. We will not ignore requests for reform and investment for years like they did in indecision. We will not commission reports telling us what to do and then promptly ignore them like Labor did and fail to act in time. Madam Speaker, they promised the world and delivered nothing. We're promising reform and we will deliver. Now, Madam Speaker, this reform isn't sexy. This reform isn't eye-catching. But, Madam Speaker, this reform is necessary. This investment is necessary. And this country Liberal Party government will deliver for Territorians. Thank you.